Hello and welcome to this week's Think Tank. I hope you're all having an amazing week. This week we're going to talk about a topic that's becoming hot in property management right now. Well, it's certainly heating up right now in property management, but it's also really relevant for sales as well. And that's the new Queensland Smoke Alarm legislation. So basically, once that comes into effect on the 1st of January 2022, if you're selling a property or renting a property or signing a lease or renewing a lease for a property, it has to be compliant with the new smoke alarm legislation. Otherwise, you can't put people in the properties. So the new legislation, just to give you a bit of a background in case you're not familiar with why this new legislation's actually come into effect. So basically on the 23rd of August in 2011, there was a fire at a property in Slacks Creek in Brisbane southeast. Now, this fire was to cause the greatest loss of life in a domestic house fire in Australian history. 11 people died, and 8 of those were children under the age of 18. On this fateful night, none of the smoke alarms at the property were working. So as a result of this tragic event, there was a coroner's inquest, and there were several recommendations that were given at this inquest, and they have now formed the new legislation under the Fire and Emergency Services Domestic Smoke Alarm Amendment Act of 2016. I actually had to read that because it is quite a mouthful. And basically, in short, those recommendations, or the major recommendations that they included in the inquest, was one, that all properties had to have photoelectric alarms. Now, photoelectric alarms are superior quality, and they basically respond more quickly to a broader range of fires and is less likely to cause false alarms, meaning that people are basically allowed to get early warning if there is a fire in their property. The second one is that the second recommendation was that the alarms have to all be interconnected and hardwired. And this means that when one alarm is triggered, the entire property's alarms all go off at the same time. And then smoke alarms to be installed in bedrooms at the property, all bedrooms, so that it limits the situations where somebody's got their door closed and they might not hear a fire alarm at the other end of the property. And the final recommendation was that there is to be a practiced escape plan for safe evacuation of properties as well. So we have prepared some slides now just to go over some of the finer details of the legislation, and just in case you're having conversations with potential vendors or landlords, these are some of the critical components of the legislation and some of the most commonly asked questions you're going to be faced with from your potential vendor or landlord. So basically the legislation is under the Fire and Emergency Services Domestic Smoke Alarms Amendment Act of 2016, and the deadline for properties to be made compliant is the 1st of January in 2022. So the new legislation will be basically at the commencement of a new lease or lease renewal or the sale of a property, you must ensure the property meets all the requirements of the domestic smoke alarm legislation. This may involve installing interconnected photoelectric alarms into the bedrooms, in addition to the currently required smoke alarms. As we already touched on, the smoke alarms will need to be installed in every bedroom of a home. The smoke alarms must be installed at all entry and exit points of the property. Two-storey houses or townhouses, they need to be interconnected with a wireless Bluetooth. It's often called a home base. All smoke alarms must be powered by either a 240 volt or a 10-year lithium battery alarm. All smoke alarms must be interconnected to each other. All smoke alarms must be photoelectric rather than ionisation. And all smoke alarms must meet the new Australian standard. So basically, a couple of extra things, they can't be so basically any alarms that are more than 10 years old will have to be replaced. Any ionised alarms that is again coming into effect on the 1st of January 2022. If you have any further questions or would like more help, please reach out to us at I Think Property.